Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the training. So if you've been paying attention lately, you probably noticed that Facebook has been getting a lot more strict around sending out DMs to prevent spam. So we've definitely seen a lot more, a bigger crackdown over the past few months. A lot more people are getting restrictions or soft bans or 24 to 48 hour restrictions. And some people are even getting longer restrictions. So the good news is, after working with hundreds of different clients with our VA DM outreach service, I've come up with a account safety checklist that we train our VAs on to help keep our clients' accounts safe and keep them from getting restrictions as much as possible. So I'm going to be walking you through that checklist so that you can actually keep your account safe and avoid those restrictions as much as possible. I'm also going to walk you through our daily task checklist and workflows that we train our VAs on so they can keep their days really structured with their DM outreach and connect with as many people as possible, follow up with as many people as possible, and book as many appointments as possible. So first, before we jump into everything, I want to just check in with everybody and see where you guys are joining in from. I see we got like 11 people on the call. Great to have y'all here. Let me know where you guys are joining from. We're going live inside the Facebook group. We're also going live on YouTube, LinkedIn. So let me know where you're coming in from, what city you're from, and let me know your name. Also, if you're in the Facebook group, on the description of this post, you'll see a link to click. And if you click that link, I can actually see your name when you make a comment. So it's nice to be able to talk back and forth to somebody and know your name. So click on that link if you are on Facebook. All right, cool. Dublin, Nebraska. Nice. Las Vegas. Well, welcome, everybody. So I'm going to just jump into it today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so let's jump in. So today I'm going to be sharing my daily DM outreach checklist and workflow so you can avoid account restrictions, grow your Facebook group, and book 30 plus appointments every single month. So here's our agenda for today. First, we're going to discuss why your DMs keep getting restricted. And I'm going to give you my account safety protocols to maximize your DM outreach and avoid restrictions as much as possible. Then we're going to actually walk you through that daily checklist and workflow for growing your group and filling your calendar with sales calls. Then we're going to talk about which KPIs you should be tracking with your DM outreach. And I'll show you a cool tool that will help you to do that. Okay. So if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Ron Medlin, but why should you listen to me about this stuff? Well, I've been growing six-figure businesses since 2010. I grew a couple of different marketing agencies between 2010 and 2016. Then in 2016, I actually became the director of digital marketing for a PR firm here in Atlanta. And I quickly learned that working for other people is just not for me, and having a job and being employed was just not for me. So I really didn't like the bureaucracy of the whole thing. I felt like a caged animal. I was under fluorescent lights all day, and I couldn't really leave. So I just after 2 years, I just didn't really like it, and they probably saw that. And I actually got fired from that position the day before Thanksgiving. So a couple of months after that, I actually launched my third marketing agency and grew that to about 6 figures in less than 7 months. And we were helping yoga studios add members to their yoga studio. Now, obviously, COVID killed that one because a lot of yoga studios got hit really hard with that. But after that, I was actually collecting unemployment for 3 months, believe it or not, and which was very interesting. That was a new thing for me. But then I was able to launch my current businesses, which are my coaching program and my VA business, I was able to generate $357,000 in 10 months using my Facebook group, a very simple content plan, and a proven DM scripts and VA that we teach in our program. And if you know me, like at all, if you've watched any of our videos or seen any of my stuff, you know that I'm just a very regular dude. So I promise you, if I can do this stuff, you absolutely can too. And it can happen a lot quicker than you even think. I was in like 3 or 4 months. I was after launching this new business, I was hitting 30K per month on a consistent basis. So this stuff happens very quickly when you get everything dialed in and you have an actual strategy. I've also been very blessed to work with a bunch of different multiple different ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club winners like Marley Jackson, Steve Larson, the founders of FlowChat, Chris Baden and Sean Malone, a guy named Chris Weiser that works with MSPs, and multiple other 6 and 7 figure coaches to help them build this stuff out and help them and their clients build this kind of stuff out. So I've worked with some really high level folks and they've trusted me to build this stuff out for them. But I've also learned a lot from those people as well, and that's helped me to kind of create my own frameworks that I actually teach in my mastermind and coaching program. So that's enough about me. I just want to introduce myself, and now let's dig into it. So let's first talk about why your DMs keep getting restricted, and we'll go over my account safety protocol to maximize the DM outreach. But nobody really knows 100% what causes these restrictions. But because I've worked with so many different clients using in our VA DM service, we've gotten more restrictions than most. And so we started having to figure out and try to pinpoint what were the things that we were doing that was causing Facebook to look at our accounts and cause those red flags. So I'll kind of talk about through this safety protocol checklist. And if you have any questions, please hold all your questions till the end, and I'll make sure and try to answer those as well as I can. All right, so let's jump into the checklist here, and let's kind of just go through this. Okay, so the first thing that we do need to think about is all of our activities we need to space out throughout the day. And that's why it's nice to have a VA doing this stuff for you, because, you know, as a business owner, you're busy, and coming back and forth to something is just not efficient. So you need to space everything out. Okay. And each activity is looked at in totality, but it's also looked at as an individual activity. So if you're doing one thing too much in a row, then you need to take a break from that thing, go do another activity, and then come back to that later, if that makes sense. So the first thing that I'm going to go through is when we're qualifying leads and then sending friend requests to those leads. So if you're actually doing DM outreach, typically what you're going to want to do is send a friend request to your ideal targets. And then when those friend requests are accepted, then send them a message. Now, a lot of people send those messages without actually sending a friend request, but that is definitely getting cracked down on. So that's, if you're doing that, it's going to get harder and harder for you, and you're probably going to see a lot more restrictions by doing that. Okay. So sending out friend requests and typically waiting for the friend request to come back. You can continue to try to send those friend requests or the messages without sending the friend requests or getting the friend request accepted, but you are going to run into restrictions if you do that. Okay. The next thing that we found is clicking on a lot of profiles in a short period of time. And then, because a lot of times when we're trying to pre-qualify leads, you would want to click on that person's profile and look through their, you know, you're looking for certain qualifications like their bio, where they're from, their banner picture, their profile picture. And when you're clicking on a lot of those profiles, that's going to look robotic to Facebook. And anything that looks robotic and happens a lot over a short period of time is definitely going to raise a red flag to Facebook and potentially cause you restrictions. So don't click on a lot of profiles in a short period of time, and pre-qualify leads by the groups that they're in. So if you're getting leads or adding friends from groups, typically if they're in a group, that's a good first qualifying thing, because you know that they're interested in, you know, whatever topic is relevant to you. Okay. Their profile picture, if they've got a really good profile picture and it looks natural, I've started to be able to pinpoint or identify the really fake accounts, because they all look like these beautiful women that are from Europe and all this stuff, and they barely have any real content or pictures of themselves on their profile. So the profile picture is a good clue whether it's going to be an ideal target. So that's one thing you can actually see by hovering over their name in a member group. Let me just show you an example of this. I'm going to pick up. We're going to go to my Facebook group, and I'm going to go to the member section. Sorry if I actually go to your name here, but just showing some examples here. You always want to be sending friend requests to members with things in common. So I like to go here, and then I can just scroll through here. And, you know, this guy looks like it has a real picture. I don't think anybody would put this as a fake picture. So that looks legit. Now, I don't see anything about his title, his job title. So this lady looks great. You know, she's co-founder of a 2 Comma Coach, great picture. So I'd probably just pre-qualify her and send a friend request instead of clicking on her profile. Because if I click on a bunch of these profiles to do qualification, that's going to send up a red flag. Okay. So that's another thing. The next thing is when we're sending out messages. Okay. So you need to space out your icebreakers, or that's what we call our initial messages, to new leads. Now, messages to leads that have not responded to your messages or viewed your messages, seen your messages, like their little icon goes down to the latest message, that's going to also be viewed as an initial message. Okay. So you have to space those out over time. Okay. Those are the kinds of messages that get restricted the most. When somebody's actually responding back and forth to you, you can send those people as many messages as possible typically. But those first messages, both to people that are new friends that you've never sent a message to, as well as people that are just not responding to your message or have not viewed your message, those are going to look at like initial messages to Facebook. So you got to spread those out and be very careful with those. You also, with these messages that you're sending, you need to pay attention to the message delivery status at the bottom right of the message after sending a message. If it says sent and it does that quickly, then you should be okay sending more messages. When it starts to slow down and take longer for that sent notification to actually go through, that's a sign that you need to slow things down and maybe take a break from sending those initial messages and go do another activity, if that makes sense. Now, if you see and I'll show you an example of this, what I'm talking about. So if I go to any of these messages, let me go here. You can see that this says sent. This says sent 1 hour ago. Okay, so those are going through fine. But when they start to, you'll either see like a check mark with a open circle in it. It's not colored in. That's typically means that's usually on your phone. That means that the message is going out, but it's not being delivered. And when that stays open for a long period of time, that is a very good sign that you need to slow things down. All right. Also, don't send any links in your first message to new leads or leads that have not responded within 24 hours or have not seen your messages. So I don't like to send links to people as the first message. That's why you always see when I do a two-step post, and this might get annoying, but this is why I do it, and you should do it also, is I always ask if it's cool to drop the link there, because I don't want to send you the link because I know that sending too many links is going to potentially cause a red flag. Now, if the links are in Facebook, you can probably send more of those, but if they are going off of the platform, then you definitely need to be very careful with that. Also, we used to send a ton of like follow-up messages to get people to respond to us. That is a thing of the past. If people are not responding to you and you keep sending that same person messages, then you're gonna run a high chance of getting restricted, because that just looks like spammy behavior. If they're reading your message and then they're not responding to you, then typically that person just doesn't want to talk to you. So if you keep sending them messages, then Facebook's going to look at that like a spammy activity. Okay. Then the final things that we'll go over here is group safety. So if you're joining groups, to go and like look at their members list to see if you can find people that are good leads in that group, you don't want to join a bunch of groups at one time. This will definitely get your account restricted pretty easly. So you don't want to go, and especially if you're a newer account and you're just getting started with this kind of stuff, you don't want to just go and join a bunch of groups, group after group after group. So take that kind of slow. Don't do more than 2 in one day, especially when you're first getting started, and 5 groups in a week. And you really don't have to, because if you find a good group, you can sit and farm that group for a long period of time. Also, if you have a Facebook group and you're sending group invites, so using this group invite button here, I have tested this personally, and I did, I think, like 40 one day, and my account got shut down. Like I had to log out, it logged me out. I had to show my ID, and I had to get my account back. So I keep it now under 35 at a time. I do 35 in the morning, 35 in the evening for 70 total. And that is safe. I never have any issues with that. So just be very careful, especially when you're just getting started with sending group invites. So that's another thing. The other thing that you want to think about is how long have you been doing DM outreach on Facebook? If you're brand new, all the messages you're sending need to start at a much slower pace. You need to warm up the accounts before you can start really sending, 50 friend requests a day or 100 friend requests a day. You need to start a lot slower if you've never done that before. If all of a sudden you start doing this activity that you've never done in the past, Facebook's going to definitely start to monitor your account, okay? And they're going to give you restrictions if it just looks unnatural. So that's essentially the safety checklist. This might grow over time as we learn more, but this is a good solid just best practices to do when you're kind of thinking about your outreach stuff. And again, if you have any questions, save them till the end and we'll go over all those. But the next thing I want to do is we went through the safety protocols. I want to take you through our checklist of the daily activities that we have our VAs doing, so that they can have structure to their day, because otherwise they're just kind of all over the place and they just don't have a, log in, do this, so that they have structure to the day. So we're going to show you the daily task checklist. I'm going to show you the DM workflows that they go through to help our clients grow their groups and fill their calendars with easy to close sales calls. So let me open up this checklist and we'll kind of go through that. So if you want this checklist, just drop checklist in the comments below and I'll make sure that you get this entire document, and we'll go through everything that's in here. But if you want that checklist, just drop checklist in the comments below and I'll get it to you. All right, so let's go through the daily social media task and then the monthly social media task, or should be weekly, sorry. Okay, so the first thing here is KPIs. So when you're getting started with your account, you should set yourself daily KPIs that you should hit every single day with your friend requests. Again, if you're starting out and it's a newer account, then you need to start slow. So maybe your KPIs for that week are 25 friend requests. And then you can move it up to like 30 the next day or the next week, and 35 and 40 and so on until you get to, I probably send around 50 to 70 per day. So that's a good number for a really warm account. You can push that probably close to 100, but you'll start seeing some restrictions at that point. All right, so daily messages KPI. Now, a lot of people want me to tell you what the KPI is, key performance indicators, Pan. It's basically a benchmark that you want to reach every day. So everybody wants me to tell them exactly how many messages that you can send in a day. I really don't think there's a hard, fast number. I think you need to, again, space it out, monitor the status of the delivery of the messages to gauge whether you need to slow things down or speed things, or you can continue. And then also thinking about initial messages versus people that are responding to you often. Okay. So there's no really hard, fast rules, but you could set yourself and you should start tracking this stuff. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, to know how many messages you need to be, like, if you send this many messages every day, this will yield this many booked appointments. So you can start to monitor your stats and then you can start to see those results. So you can come up with that number. Also entering your group invite KPI. So every single day, I mentioned I do 35 invites in the morning, 35 invites in the evening. That's 70 invites into my group with new friends that I'm adding to my profile. All right, so the morning tasks. So the first thing that I want my VAs to do when they first come into log into a client's account is I want them to reply to all unread messages and then alert clients of any messages that need their attention. So what they're going to do is they're going to come in to the client's account, and then they're going to click on the message bubble, the message icon here, and they're just going to go through here and look for any unread messages. So any unread messages they're going to review, and you can see that they're unread because they're bolded and then they have the little blue dot by them. So if I clicked into this message and it was for the VA, it was something around, some of the messaging that they're sending out, then the VA would respond to that. If it was something where the client needs to actually read it and it's for the client, then the VA would read that. They would grab the link to the thread, and then they would mark that as unread. And then we have a client channel in Slack for each of our clients. And so they would tag the client in that channel and let them know that they have a message that they need to pay attention to. All right, so that's the first thing. Next thing that we want to do is we want to check account notifications for any comments on two-step posts that need to be followed up with. So a lot of what we teach in our program is creating what are called two-step posts, which are, you probably commented on a two-step post to get this training. So I'll show you an example here. So we do a lot of two-step posts on our profile and on our group, and then people comment on this to get whatever, we're promoting here. So what the VA should do next is, after they've responded to all incoming messages, that's the number one thing. They want to come in here and kind of review all the notifications that would apply to them. And those are typically going to be people that are commenting on something. Okay. So anything that has a comment, they're going to go and review that post, see if it's a two-step post, and then they're going to send the appropriate messaging to that particular person. Now, everything else, they'll leave it unread, and then I come in here and I just mark everything read. So I like to clear this out myself also, so that whenever a new thing comes in, I can just review that. So I kind of come through here, and anything I don't really care about, I just mark as read, and then the things that I need to pay attention to, I'll click on that later after the presentation. So that's the next thing that they're going to do, is they're going to check account notifications, and then they're going to respond appropriately. Then they're going to send their first round of friend requests. And again, depending on what the KPI that we're trying to hit that day, they can kind of strategically space those out throughout the day based on how many hours they have to work so that they hit that number every day. Then we're going to send our icebreakers to any new friends. And that's just kind of starting a conversation with people. We're not doing a whole lot of pitching with people that we don't know. We're just starting conversations, because by starting those conversations, you're actually helping Facebook's algorithm to show more of your content to that person. Also, if they respond, now we can send them more messages down the road. Okay, so we're sending out those icebreakers. Then we're sending out our group invites. So using the blue button to send out the group invites. Then we're responding to any incoming messages. I'd like to see it faster than 15 minutes, but if it's 15 minutes, that's fine. Within 15 minutes, any incoming messages that pop into the messenger here, they should be responding to those messages. Then any new members that come into the group, we're accepting them into the Facebook group. We're tagging them on the welcome post, and then we're sending those new group members the welcome message. Okay. Then the middle of the day, and this is really kind of ongoing, but I wanted to just put it down here. So we're sending more friend requests based on our KPI. We're sending our icebreakers to new friends. We're responding to incoming messages, checking notifications throughout the day to see if anybody's commenting on any posts. And then we're accepting people into the group. Same thing at the end of the day. The only thing that's going to change is we are going to respond to any unread messages and alerts, alert the client in Slack that they're signing out for the day, and they might need to take over some of the conversations. And then they're updating their tracking sheets and checklists. Okay. So that is basically the checklist of activities for the day. And then the weekly stuff, we're actually coming in, we're deleting any friend requests that are older than 7 days old. Another thing that might cause restrictions is if you have a lot of outstanding friend requests just sitting in there open that people aren't responding to. So you need to clean those out so that you can send more friend requests. So I like to do that on a daily basis, but also at the end of the week to kind of clear everything out and get it to only being a week old. Then we'll do the same thing for the group invites. We want to clean all those out, and then we can adjust our KPIs. If we're trying to warm up account, we can adjust the daily KPIs for that particular account as needed. And then the monthly social media task, we're going to come in and we're going to curate our friends list. So one of the things that Facebook looks at is basically your ratio of people that are in your friends list to the people that are engaging with your content. So you want a high ratio of those people engaging with your content, because that's going to show more of your content to more people in the news feed. Okay. So every month, what we need to do is we need to trim down our friends list based on deactivated accounts that are not really live anymore, people that don't fit our target audience, and people that are not engaging with our content. Okay. So every single month, I'm going to trim down my friends list by 10% so that I can increase my ratio of people that are engaging with my content. So that is our daily, weekly, and monthly task checklist. Now let's head over to the daily workflow that our VAs go through for our group mastermind clients. So this is our tool, Group Fuel. This is a DM outreach tool specifically built for that. And this is a demo account. And this is basically what our clients get when they come into our program. So they get these different pipelines. They get access to these different pipelines. This first pipeline here is basically inviting cold prospects to the Facebook group. Then when people join the group, we have a question on our membership questions that's like, hey, this is what we do. Would you like us to reach out to you to book a phone call? Some people will say that yes to that, and they'll go into this pipeline and we just try to book the phone call with those people. Some people will say no to that, and we have a different follow-up strategy for those folks to try to book a phone call. And then once they go through this pipeline, we move everybody into an ongoing nurture pipeline so that we can touch base on people and just follow up, provide value, look like a human and show that we care. And we want to help them, get better results. Okay. So we have an ongoing pipeline that checks in with those people on an ongoing basis. And then we have a pipeline that helps us basically run the system that I use to get you guys on this call and then to follow up with you after. So we promote our live streams, get people on our live streams, and then we follow up with everybody after. Okay. So basically what the VA is going to do is they're going to come in here. They're going to go through all the new members that have joined and move them through this workflow. So I'll just show you what this looks like. So as new members come in, they're going to be moving them through this pipeline. They said yes to a call, so we're going to try to get them to book a call. The ones that say no, then that also join the group, we're going to be moving them through the call. So this is two of the things that they're going to be doing every single day. And then they're also going to be sending the initial icebreakers to new people, trying to get them into the Facebook group. And then they're going to be checking in ongoing with group members that have been in there for a while. So the cool thing about this tool, our tool, is that it tells you exactly when you need to be following up with these people. So what the VA needs to do is they just need to check these pipelines when new members come into the group to follow up with those people. They need to check in on the ongoing people, and they can see all the ones that they need to follow up with today and send the messaging, move them to the next stage of that pipeline. And then if we're running a live stream promotion, then they just focus on this pipeline. So it's very structured their day. And then we send the initial messages to new friends. So basically they just manage these pipelines, and they can send all of the messages that are needed to these people that are in these pipelines. And then they just fill the incoming messages the rest of the day. So that's kind of how their process works. It keeps them very structured, very streamlined, and getting us results. So that is basically the checklist and the workflow. Now let's talk about which KPIs you should be tracking and for your outreach and how to do it. So I've included some tracking sheets in the actual checklist that you're going to get that go along with our pipelines for our group mastermind people and people that come to us that actually have Facebook groups. And again, if you want that checklist, just drop the word checklist below and I'll make sure you get it afterwards. But you can also build these reports in Group Fuel, which is pretty cool. So let me show you what that looks like in the custom pipeline reports. And so let me open up these reports and I'll walk you through these different kind of reporting KPIs that we're kind of looking for. So for our ongoing nurture, we're looking for check-ins. Okay, so those are going to be our messages that we're sending on an ongoing basis when they become due. Okay. And then we want to know, out of those check-ins, how many people booked calls, and that'll give us a booking rate. And then we want to know how many of those turned into won deals, and that'll give us our close rate for this pipeline. Next thing is our new members that said yes to a call. First of all, we want to know how many people joined our group, how many of those people booked a call, and then we'll get a booking rate from that, and then the won deal and the close rate. And then same thing for this one, because this is a very similar pipeline, just a different messaging. And then our live stream promotion, how many leads were generated and this is all dummy data, but how many leads were generated from all of our promotional posts? How many of those turned into book calls after the live stream was done? And that'll give us a booking rate. And then how many of those turned to close won deals and then give us a close rate. And then our cold prospects invite to group, what we want to track is our friend requests sent friend requests accepted, that's going to give us a connection rate. That might tell us like, hey, maybe our profile needs some work. Typically, that's what you're going to look at if people are not accepting your friend request. The other thing is how many icebreakers or initial messages are we sending, and then how many of those people are actually joining the group, and that's going to give us a group join rate. So that's going to help us to keep track of our pipelines and how effective they are each week, so that we can tweak things if we need to, if they're not performing as well as we'd like, or we can, try to get it, if it's working really well, then we can start adding other traffic channels to get as many people as possible into those pipelines. So that is essentially today's training. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me stop sharing my screen and I will take any questions you guys have. Anybody got any questions? And if anybody's interested in actually seeing the software, then you can drop the word demo below and we can schedule a demo and I can walk you through the software. I can walk you through our pipelines that we run for our clients. And that if you buy from us, then we actually will give you those pipelines. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we can end it for today. That was a quick one. Okay, cool. How identify new prospects? Well, typically, there's several ways that you can do it. You can either find groups that, where your target audience hangs out, and then just go into the membership section. And then always when you're sending friend requests, you want to make sure that you go to the members with things in common, because those are going to be people that have mutual friends. So you really only want to be sending friend requests to people that have mutual friends, because that's going to help you to keep from getting restrictions on friend requests. So that's one way to do it. You could find posts where people are commenting, and the post is relevant to what you offer. A lot of those people, you can pull those people in. And the cool thing about Group Fuel, let me just show you this real quick, is we can import from a lot of different places. One of the places that we can import from is our post. So this is a two-step post that we're going to be coming out with automation here shortly, but we can actually load these comments. And this is how we do it for our live stream stuff. And we go through here, we scroll through all the comments. And I want to make sure that they're all expanded out. So I can come to this one, expand it out, and you can see this number is going to grow here. It's going to take obviously a little bit longer when I'm going live here. So now I've got 91. I think there's actually more in there. I don't know why I'm not showing them all. But then I can import those into my pipeline now. And this would go into my live stream pipeline down here at the bottom. And I would select the import from posts, and then I would start importing. Okay, so that's going to be my lead count that I imported from posts. So I'd import those into the post and start running them through the messaging scripts. So that's just one way. We can import from all these different places, all these different channels: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, all these different places. Oh, school. We got school now. Nice. All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Tanya. Any last questions? And again, if you want the checklist and you have not dropped checklist in the comments yet, drop checklist. If you want to see a demo of the software, drop demo and we will reach out and we will book a demo with you and send you the checklist. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, then we will end it for today. Thank y'all so much for spending your time with me, and we will see you on the next one. See you guys.